Okay, we're back with Ron Copfer, and he's in the guise of his Fab Lab here.
Wait for that compressor to kick
And
off.
because it's a working place, you're going to hear some background noise and compressors and all. So you got to talk real loud, Ron.
Okay.
So we're in the Rebuilders Xchange, but this is kind of it's more than a man cave. This is what you call the Fab Lab. Tell us about this.
Well, the ladies call it the Fab Lab because they're all into the marketing, you know. We just call it our shop. It's a 4,000 square foot facility where we do metalworking, welding, and then wood refinishing, furniture refinishing, new projects made out of wood. So it's a little bit of everything. Some electrical projects, really whatever customers come in and want, we can usually figure out a way to repair it if it's possible.
Now again, as people know Ron Copfer is a serial entrepreneur with, something like 16 IT and tech and companies like that. They're a little surprised to see you with the welding apron on and the tools and having those skills. Where did that come from?
Well, I was always a builder. I repaired the neighborhood bikes when I was 12, 14 years old, and my first job out of high school was in the shipyards behind the terminal tower. I worked on ore boats and in the fabrication shop there, and I learned how to weld and work with metal. And one thing led to another. I got into the pipe fitters union, and I became a nuclear power plant repair welder and traveled all over the country building nuclear plants. Came back to here at Cleveland on the far east side at Perry, and when that industry shut down, I didn't want to continue in the trades anymore. And so I started my own business in 1986 and never looked back for 36 years.
So it's interesting. You have someone here who's known for his IT entrepreneur. You didn't go to an Ivy League college and take 4 years of MIS graduate studies and the history of entrepreneurship and all that. You just kind of did it, and you learned these skills and all while you're doing it. What do you tell? I mean, kids today, is college the only path for them, or what do you think?
I wouldn't say so. As Jessica mentioned earlier, I think the biggest key to success in life is being curious. And when I was a kid, I was curious about fixing bikes and building things. And when I got into the IT world, video production, filmmaking, I was curious and just figured it out. If you really want to know something, the knowledge about it is not that hard to get. And particularly today with Google and YouTube, you can pretty much learn about anything that you have an interest in. So, I flunked Algebra 1 and 2 years in a row in high school and went on to become a software programmer, which is nothing but algebra. So, maybe I was bored in school, which led to my poor grades, but I just, I wasn't designed to be in a structural classroom setting, because when I want to learn something, I want to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, and I don't like to be bogged down with other people's speed of learning. So college was never going to be in my future. It still isn't. I've done what I could to learn what I can, and the only thing you really learn when you get to be my age is just you'll never know it all, and there's a lot more to learn.
Amen. It's one of those things. We have Lincoln Electric here in town. We have Cleveland is known as manufacturing historically, and I know we have health now and evolving into other sectors, but we're built on manufacturing. And I know that Lincoln, you get a career there, you're pretty much set for life with the bonuses, and there's a demand for people who have skills, can make things, can do things, and it's a combination of creativity, and curiosity, and science, and all that put together. Would you encourage kids to pursue some of this?
Oh, for sure. Lincoln Electric is an old-fashioned Cleveland company. I took a 6-week course there early on when I was working in the shipyards, and you can see that's the only kind of welding machines that I buy for Lincoln's. I have a pretty good loyalty to the brand, and it's pretty good working equipment. And probably in my mid-20s, later 20s, when I got out of the pipe fitting industry and pipe welding, if kids today had the certificates that I had back then, 13 certificates of pipe welding, you could make $140,000, $150,000 a year, which is not bad for not having to go to high school. I mean, even an average welder that doesn't have those kind of certificates can make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. So it's definitely a trade that I think younger people should look into, and we've got a number of them here that are learning how to weld and fabricate and work with metal and build things. And, it's pretty satisfying. And one of those is a recent graduate from Cleveland Institute of Art. She just loves it here.
So the Fab Lab here, you said you do metal and wood. No, do you have a preference? What you personally like to work on the most?
No. I like the variety. It's not a manufacturing job shop. It's everything's unique and it poses problems and solutions to solve, and sates your curiosity to figure it out. And when you see a customer's face light up, it's an amazing feeling to know that you've made something for somebody that they really appreciate. I am better at metal forming and welding, although my woodworking skills are getting better and better, but that's probably, if I had a preference, it would be metalsmithing.
So knowing you, I assume you had before you had this great Fab Lab here and the Rebuilders Xchange, you had a garage full and a basement full of tools and projects going on, and you've been doing this for years.
Yeah, even through my tech years, I always had a basement wood shop or a garage wood shop. I never really did a lot of welding in all those years because it's you need space, and it's somewhat dangerous to do that in your garage and your basement, so I never really did it. But I did make projects a lot in home shops, and you're always confined, so you really can't do a lot of stuff. The opportunity to grow a fabrication shop here in the back of RBX was a great opportunity for me, and I really didn't think it would turn into a full-time job after I retired. In the 4 years that we've been here making things, I think I've made 3 things for myself. So it's really become an outlet for customers to have a resource, to have things built, and we love it.
So do you have any favorite or special projects that you've worked on over the last few years?
Oh yeah, recently we've gotten a couple of nice-sized projects from Playhouse Square. We built all the containment planter boxes and screens for all the restaurants in Playhouse Square last summer. And they loved it so much they gave us another project, which we're still in the middle of, and that's 8-foot-tall barriers are going to go around all the compactors in the back of Playhouse Square. So they've been a good customer of ours, and that's not necessarily somebody that would walk in from RBX and want something new finished. That was a new project, new aluminum. You can see it in the back there. It's really been kind of fun to work on and challenging, and they love the work that we're doing. So we're looking to find more customers like that.
So when you look at the Rebuilders Xchange website, you can see the hours that are open to the public. I'd encourage you to come down, just browse around if you have any interest in this kind of stuff, because maybe you'll see Ron back here working, and
always.
I think you're here all the time. You can tell they got a lot of projects starting. We're going to pan around and get some of this. We were just talking before about how we drool watching the home shows like Norm Abrams and all, and This Old House on PBS, and you'd see the tools and all that they'd have. This is kind of it's not as fancy and clean as Norm's shop, but wow,
it's
the arc welders and
it's a working shop.
Yeah, the tools and all. It's really cool. So come on down and see Ron. Any parting words for our Cleveland friends?
For the younger folks that didn't ever give a thought about making things and working with your hands, I highly encourage you to look into those opportunities. Tri-C has a great set of classes for both woodworking and metalsmithing and welding. And if you're older and changing careers or retiring, it could be a viable option for you too. So don't be afraid to dig in and learn.